Okay, so this is a confession of someone who was kind of like, I wouldn't say born into the Siren community. I would have to say that I had a lot of motivating factors that made me want to stay in this community. For instance, a lot of women who go through a lot of abandonment issues or like self love issues or issues with their mothers, parents. Typically, you're going to find your way to the marine kingdom, especially if you also experience different types of, I'm not sure if I can say that word, but types of abuse like that. Or maybe, oh, my afro. I hate having a see through afro because normally I puff it down. But I don't know. I just had that feeling that I just needed to confess like what the marine kingdom is and the different cultures that you can join it through. So like for me, I started out with a very particular path. I started out with Ifa. And with Ifa, obviously, we're dealing with the waters, a lot of water spirits. I'm not saying all the water spirits are bad, but what I am saying is that certain spirits, they don't take very kindly to being disrespected. So, like, if you sign up for this contract and you don't fulfill your end of the offer, that's where like a lot of these horror stories come from. And like me, like I said, I was young. I was probably 19. Like I said, I got a reading. That's how I really got learned into it. And the reading told me that I was destined to be a high priestess. And they recommended me to go to a village, and I went to the village. I did my initiation. I had my ceremonies. And after the initiation, I don't know, something felt different. I just felt like I was hearing more things. Like I felt more powerful. Like I can hear more things. And I felt like I got a lot prettier too. Like if I find a picture, well, I have a lot of pictures of myself from earlier, but if I find them, I'll edit them in, I think maybe. But yeah, like I said, like I wanted to be pretty. I was young, I was smart, you know. I got taken advantage of by a lot of people, and I also a lot of people who were close to me. And because of that, it caused me to be very closed off. And I wouldn't say I had an eye for revenge because I am a Scorpio moon, but I definitely felt as if, what's the word I'm looking for? I felt as if I was angry with the world and the world didn't care. And like, oh, man, I don't even know if I want to say that, but I just felt like a certain group of people were meant to be punished. And I just feel like being under this Iron Kingdom, especially under particular one I was under, that was kind of like our goal or mission. So here's a quick list of things that if you ever get into the Siren community that you have to be aware of because it's not all bad. It's not all bad. But when it's bad, it's terrible. When it's good, it's amazing. But when it's bad, it's terrible. But anyway, let's see, where do I start at? So, like I said, I want to start with how I got invited into the tradition. So, like I said, I got a reading when I was younger. I was like 19. She told me I was a high priestess and she recommended me to go to some groups to check them out. And I did. The first one I went to was an African village, and they told me I was Yemoja. And I was like, oh, because like originally before the reading, I had heard it. Like it was just something about Yemoja because I'm clairvoyant. And sometimes I hear things like that. And yeah, when I got that like head reading and it confirmed it, I was like, yeah, absolutely. But what they don't tell you is there's different archetypes for every deity. And with water deities in particular, they are very emotional. So we're talking the fire Scorpio, where their emotions can get really aggressive, or Cancer, where you can kind of just like stick to it, or like you give out love and you expect to get it back and you don't get it back. And of course, like Cancers, they can harbor that type of emotion to a certain degree. And then you have Pisces, like Shara Seven. Shara Seven's a good example of this. Like, nigga, give me my money and get the fuck away from me. So that gives you a good idea of like the overall energy of the Marine Kingdom. And Siren means to bind. So a lot of sirens, they like to bind themselves to particular partners in order to gain access to the resources. So if you're not giving a siren what she wants, the chances are like she's not going to be around for very long. So, like I was saying, a lot of sirens like they will use certain performative arts to manipulate certain people to get what they want, but it starts like way before that. A lot of times like it starts with eye contact or even just setting the attention like, oh universe, I'm going to attract a loving nurturing man who loves me and will be with me forever. But obviously you'll pull a man towards you if you want him to. But yeah, that's the basis of the siren kingdom. Like we're very pretty, very attractive. Like me, I'm Yemoja. And a lot of times, like when you're in the Siren Kingdom, like they really put an emphasis on how you look. Like you gotta look good. And a lot of times they will get on to you about your weight. Certain communities, this is not every community, but they want to make sure that you look very good, very seductive, and that you are a representation of the Marine Kingdom, which is beauty. Because like this is what I was taught. Like I said, I'm saying the shit I was taught. The prettier you are, the nicer the world will be to you. And that has definitely been true because at my ugliest, I was treated my worst, but at my prettiest, I was treated the best. And like I said, different color makeups, obviously they have different ideas. That's why back in the days, especially in Europe, women would wear like red lipstick to give the idea that they might be into certain things. So, like, it kind of always has to do with your looks. Like, and like any siren who disagrees with that or remember any of the water traditions, you're probably lying if you say looks have nothing to do with it. So, like I said, with a lot of the water spirits, it's very interesting about them because, like I said, very sweet, very loving, very nurturing. But the problem is people disrespect them and they take advantage of them. And that's where a lot of the chaotic shit happen. Like, for instance, I thought I could just abandon the tradition and just walk away and just do whatever. Like, when I did that shit, that was the worst year of my life. They brought my ass back. But yeah, like I said, I rushed into it. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't get initiated into this, but just know that this is a permanent thing. And that if you don't serve your particular head or your particular council, then, you know, unfortunately, it's a possibility that they could become your enemy. And a lot of times you don't really want that type of energy generated to you. So, like I said, if you're working with a deity, you got to work with that deity for the rest of your life. Like, there's no getting out of the contract. A lot of people tell you, well, just send it away, but you signed a contract. That's why a lot of times I just have a fan here, but a lot of times when they're doing the initiation, especially over your leakies, I don't show mines, but they'll like spit on it to represent like that energetic vibrational connection, which is kind of like blood, which is why a lot of cultures they do animal sacrifices to represent that permanent, everlasting connection that you can't break because you can't break blood. So, like I said, that's why people tell you to take your time when you're getting initiated into these traditions because, like I said, it can go really good where you do the work and they reward it, or it can go really bad where, like, you abandon them. And it's even worse when, like, you work with them for a while and then they don't hear from you. Because, like I said, water spirits, water signs, anything dealing with water is very sensitive and they don't respond well to emotions because you're also dealing with the moon, which brings me into the next thing because I made a list. Well, like I said, very extreme emotions, and the next thing on the list is spell work. So, with being underneath Yamaja, obviously she's revered as being the mother of witchcraft. So, to a certain degree, I'm lying to the fullest degree of the law. You will be learning practices, and a lot of times, like she will come to you and communicate to you whispering certain names, phrases that you need to look into, that you need to study, or you might have certain visions or feelings about certain people, and then you'll keep like tracking around. So that's part of the spells. Like in like I said, once you make your offerings, like you do what you're supposed to do, like your spiritual gifts will get stronger because once again, Yamaja is witchcraft. So she's dealing with a very high magnetic frequency. And if you look at the animals in the ocean, they'll give you a clear description of what the powers of the marine kingdom are. Because if you think about it, go back in history, any war, especially in Egypt, where a lot of powerful goddesses are, like a lot of times the wars were over women, like Cleopatra, like she had so many men fighting over her. Why? Because she was beauty. Like this is the OG queen of glamour magic. Actually, this is one of like the highest temples of glamour magic and looking pretty. Because if you look on the hieroglyphics, all the women look amazing. Same with like the other various cultures throughout Africa, all the women look amazing for a reason because that is the goddess frequency. Like you're supposed to look good. You're supposed to be generous. You're supposed to be loving. You're supposed to be caring, nurturing, sweet. But big emphasis on this in this contract. Once you're no longer operating in that energy, a lot of the spirits are going to have a problem with you. And big emphasis that you need to understand like what energy of water spirit you're getting under because there could be like the nice Oshun, the sweet loving one, or it could be the Oshun that will kind of like lure you into being on the side of, doing like different types of work that you probably shouldn't be dealing in. If you get what I'm saying, because I'm not sure if I can say the word. But yeah, some of the darker water spirits they do exist, like they will mask under the loving light, nurturing side of Yamaja and other spiritual mothers. And like I said, like the goal of this particular spirit is to get you like to be lusty. Like it's to get you to like do things that destroy you but bring you a lot of pleasure. Like basically the goal of the water, well, like the evil marine spirit is to get you to feel good while you do sin. That's the purpose of Lucifer or any other demonic purpose. Is to make you feel good while you do sin. Because if you feel good while you do sin, you're going to want to do more of it, which it's like this, like we have a funny system of justice. So like if you feel like for instance, let's say you're a siren, right? And like your goal is to get money out of men. In your mind, you're like, oh well, they manipulate me anyway, so I'm just beating them to it. Like, of course, in your mind, you feel like it's justified, but like it's not justified in the ancestral realm to a certain degree to manipulate people for money. Like it's not cool. Like I said, that's a darker aspect of the marine kingdom. And if you're not careful, you can get yourself caught up in spirits like that. So that's like my pro tip. Like I would definitely ask them, like, okay, if they're like, hey, do you agree to accept the spirit? The spirit of who? Like you got to make sure they define the spirit because the trigger to trade is like they're not going to tell you what the spirit really represents. Like they're not going to tell you like, hey, we're bringing you here and we're cracking it open your trauma, and we're bringing you back like every single month, week, and we're running up a bill total. And there's a very powerful city, like it's like a staple city, very powerful dealing with water. And a lot of times, like a lot of different spirits, like they manifest from this city. And it's a very good reason to get involved in this very particular type of dark magic. Because a lot of times, it's by the water. Because in order for marine spirits to survive, like they have to be near the coast. Like they have to go to the beach regularly. So, yeah, like I was saying, like me getting into that spell work, that you have a good idea of what the marine kingdom is capable of. You like where do I start at? Like I said, first is hypnotism, music, sex. A lot of times certain people, especially in churches, their husbands might be targeted. Yeah, I'll have to say targeted because they might be taking a building to a certain direction. Meanwhile, there might be a competing egregore that doesn't necessarily respect that energy. So, yeah, like I said, certain egregores you just won't want to be touched by. And egregore is like a thought form. And like I said, when you get involved in these organizations, like it's so much bigger than your own thoughts. So a lot of times, like you get involved in these groups, and you're just like, "Oh yeah, it's cool," and then like a few months later, you're like, "Oh, this might not be right," but then you're already initiated. And like I said, Ifa is one of those tricky ones because you're binding your spirit, and then like if you get especially if you get a water spirit over your head, like yeah, they don't like that. They don't like it when you try to leave. So if you get involved in these traditions, you're going to be in a contract with them for life. Now, on the other end, if you do, it won't be a bad thing if you genuinely like care about the tradition. You make sure everybody's taken care of, you make sure everybody's safe. Like you make sure that your ancestors really feel cared about and respected. Then like I said, smooth sailing. But yeah, like I said, marine kingdoms are notorious for love spells. I just want to give a little bit of time before I really started talking. But yeah, the marine kingdom is notorious for love spells and putting them on people. And a lot of time you just think about like the spaghetti and blood, but no, it's way deeper. Like from the moment she lays her eyes on you, like she is pulling you in with her magnetism. Women are extremely magnetic. The ocean is magnetic. The moon is magnetic, actually. And think of the woman like the fish. Well, no, she's the moon, actually. And think of the man like the being a fish in the ocean. Like you think that it's the water controlling the fish, but no, it's actually the moon. The moon controls the fish. The moon controls like how high up the fish go, how low they go. That's why they came out with the almanac. Otherwise, people would know, like, hey, on 4 o'clock we can go fishing every day. Like, no. And as a woman, that's one of the powers you gain as being a member of the Siren Kingdom. Like, you can pull things towards you. Like, you don't have to do all the work. This is why a lot of sirens end up marrying like guys with a lot of money and they don't have to do shit because, like I said, they manifested it. And a lot of sirens, they're quite adept in a lot of gifts because, like, once you open up to these types of goddesses, they will bless you with an infinite amount of gifts, and they will all get more powerful as you grow up, as you get older. So another one of those gifts is, like I said, you can just think about it. Like literally, all you gotta do is just think about what you want and act like it's a good memory and a time, and eventually it'll fall out the air. Like literally, if I'm like, oh, I want a laptop, I can give it a week or two. I'm gonna get a laptop, or I can ask for a new phone. A week or two later, I'm gonna get the phone, or I can ask to do a business based off of this and give it like a month, a week, whatever. I'm probably gonna get a client for 5, 10, 15, 20. Because, like I said, once you make those offerings to the mother, like that's the key to the Marine Kingdom. And like I said, it's the key, it's the factor that gets a lot of people fucked up. Like the Marine Kingdom does not like nobody stingy. It is definitely sprinkle, sprinkle. Like, I'm not saying that all the guys just want money as offerings. No, they just want love. They want connection. They want you to dance for them. They want you to sing for them. They want you to be with them. They want you to share their beauty. And the more their beauty you share and express, the more you're going to get out of them. And not to mention, the love they give you is so amazing. But here's another con of the Marine Kingdom. This is an important one. When dating specific partners, it may not work out because, like, when you belong to the Marine Kingdom, especially like Oshun or Himaja, they're very particular about the men that you end up with. So if that man ain't right for you, and you don't surrender him, then there is a pretty fairly large possibility that something could end up happening to that person because once again, like if sirens they attach onto you. This is why Yemojis can't go too far in the water. This is why Yemojis can't go too far in the ocean. I tried it once and I almost drowned. I don't know. Like a lot of times, like they fall in love with you and they want you to come to them. They want you to enjoy them. Like they want your energy. But obviously, Yamaja doesn't understand that, you might still need a little bit of air because she's a spirit. And she just gets overwhelmed with emotions and she's just like, come here, love me. Yay. But Yeah. And then Oshun especially, like I said, sprinkle energy. So like don't like I wouldn't ask Oshun for shit if you're not giving her an offering because she's probably gonna say no. Like if you want a good idea of Oshun, like look up Shira Seven or Ashra Goddess. Like Oshun doesn't like working for free, but she does love spreading beauty and uniqueness. But once again, a lot of times with these feminine energies, they've been mistreated so badly over, like centuries that when they get disrespected, it's like, you're done. Like they're going full force, full power, like everywhere in between. Like just watch a video of an angry Scorpio and you'll see, like watch Bad Girl Club. What was it? Was it Bad Girls Club? Yeah, Bad Girls Club. They'll give you a good idea of like what happens when these spirits are disrespected. But once again, as long as you take care of them, they'll take care of you. So, yeah, like I said, let's think about contrast with bringing spirits. And like I said, me, I kind of always like lean towards this. So, my advice to people who are thinking about getting like initiated under marine spirits is that, like I said, very emotional, very sensitive, very nurturing. So like if you're not emotional, if that's not really your quality, then like you're probably not going to fare well in the marine kingdom because like I said, very serious natured women, very protective, very powerful, it's the snake, like Adam and Eve. So, sometimes she can be deceptive. So like I said, when we're operating in that negative vibration of it, like I said, deception is big. Like I said, you have a lot of sex work, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, because if those emotions aren't balanced out, it's like a swamp. Like you have the ocean, a swamp, a pond, a lake, a stream, and when you're in that swamp, like it's murky, you're not able to get out of it. So since you're not really able to get out of it, you have a hard time being able to fully like allow yourself to be free. Like it's very interesting. Okay, 1 second, I got a call. Uh-oh. But yeah, like I said, being a siren is not for everybody. It's not for every woman. And like I said, typically every woman who goes down this path, a lot of times they suffered some type of traumatic event or something of that nature. And especially children of the dysphoria. I can't pronounce that word. I'm so sorry. But dysphoria, dysphoria. But yeah, especially children there, like a lot of times they will reach out to you. But yeah, like I said, the Marine Kingdom can be lit. Like another gift you're gonna be able to do, like you're gonna be able to manipulate how you look. Like it's really cool. Like you can change how your face looks. Like you can change how your body looks. Like for instance, like I don't work out, I don't go to the gym, but just real quick, because I know I don't show my body. I'll just show you like what I manifested. Like I'm so short that you can't see, but oh, look, I have the steps to walk. But I'll just show you what like being operating up a marine kingdom do to your body. Damn, I'm still at the phone. Like I hate being this short. But the share is so heavy. But yeah, like I said, it's very interesting. Because like I said before, I didn't really have any hips. And like I said, if I want to lose weight, like I said, it's very interesting, like how I manifested, like getting my body shaped exactly how I want. I manifested getting my brows shaped exactly how I wanted. And like I said, it was very interesting, like just being able to like manipulate like your different body parts to be able to like get them to look exactly how you want them to look. So that is another very cool power and feature of being a part of the Marine Kingdom. So, like another thing, like I said, like people will fall in love with you. Like they'll get you a lot of gifts. Like they'll get you a lot of stuff. And another thing, like a lot of extremely like powerful NBA like lives stuff. like a lot of like extremely powerful like NBA women. Um, what I'm trying to say, basically, this is how they get their husbands. This is how a lot of women who don't really do shit. This is how they make a lot of money. Like literally, they're just like literally pretty. Like that's all they do. Like they're pretty. They do their magic. They have firm stuff. Like they don't have like any negative self beliefs. So like all negative self beliefs kind of have to go out of the window. Like you can't afford to have any type of like negative feeling, vibration, vibe, or frequency towards you or others. Like I said, as long as you're in that good goddess feminine energy, you're generous, you're kind, you're sweet, you're loving, like just right off the bat, you're already gonna look amazing. So, like I said, that's just my experience with the Marine Kingdom. I know, like I said, it's truth to both sides. I feel like it's truth to both sides of the Marine Kingdom is bad or the Marine Kingdom is good. I just feel like it's like the same thing with like what's going on now in the world. Like you have good sides of, a certain organization, religion, and you have bad sides of it. You have people who act like they were light, and turns out they were darkness. So I just feel like when it comes to the Siren Kingdom, I just feel like we shouldn't really be judged. Because at the end of the day, like no one ever judges the niggas that want us. I'm just putting it out there. Sorry for saying that, but no one ever judges the men who want us, who fetishize us, who who literally probably drink our bathwater with a straw. Like literally, like they can be dehydrated to death of water, and like literally it can be like a gallon of it in your bathwater. They would probably drink your bathwater. But once again, like that's not a problem in society, and I just feel like that's my beef with like the whole like Marine Kingdom siren thingy because 9 times out of 10, I feel like we're all not bad. And I feel like the shit that they call us bad for isn't really bad. Like, I don't know, like if you look in European history, like they were operating out of, you know, they were doing some crazy shit over there. Like y'all already know, and like today is what's going on now in America is evident that they were doing some crazy ass shit. So yeah, I would be very careful with consuming a lot of media like that right now because once again they're showing you proof that they're contracts. So that's why I wouldn't really tap into like the whole Espine energy. I wouldn't really go through those files because you don't need that energy. So that's another thing. As a marine spirit, since you manifest it super duper fast, you manifest really fast. Everything you want, anything you don't want. Like you definitely have to take your time if you actually want to manifest and call things towards you that will actually benefit you. Because once again, like I said, that's the trick of the Siren Kingdom. Like it'll give you exactly what the fuck you want. Like and sometimes the certain spirits in the Marine Kingdom, they will know that whatever they're offering you isn't right. But at the same time, like they will make you go through that situation in order to save you in the future. Like sometimes you just have to learn that painful lesson. Like, okay, you pull these cards and they said to stay away from that man. You pull the devil card. Okay, you want to go back over there. Okay, now you're going to get your heart broken and there's nothing they can do about it. But after you learn your lesson, they'll be there to counsel you through it even. But yeah, that's just some like interesting information on the Marine Kingdom, what it represents, and most importantly of all, like once you get initiated in these traditions with these specific Marine spirits, you're not gonna be able to leave. Like I said, 19, I moved. Like even when I get readings, guys, that somehow like these names will just always pop up in my reading. So like I said, if you want this life, you're more than welcome, but like you can't leave a goddess. Like that's just like it just doesn't work that way. Like you can separate, but once again, depending, especially with specific water spirits, sorry, excuse me, especially with specific water spirits, like you just can't break that bond because they love you too much and they won't let you go. because a lot of them are fucking crazy. Like, think about some of the storms that they sent through the Caribbean, across the Atlantic. So that is also the force that you're tapping into. So, like I said, as long as you revere it and you respect it, you're good to go. But if you don't, ooh, it's not going to be a very good time for you. But anyway, thanks for watching my live. Peace.